Chapter 33. Trail of Oil. What was I thinking? Wondered Eragon in the morning. His head was pounding and his tongue felt thick and fuzzy. As a rat skidded under the floor, Eragon winced at the noise. How are we feeling? Asked Saphira smugly. Eragon ignored her. A moment later, Brom rolled out of bed with a grumble. He doused his head in cold water from the basin, then left the room. Eragon followed him to the hallway. Where are you going? He asked. To recover. I'll come. At the bar, Eragon discovered that Brom's method of recovery involved imbibing copious amounts of hot tea and ice water and washing it all down with brandy. When they returned to the room, Eragon was able to function somewhat better. Brom belted on his sword and smoothed the wrinkles out of his robe. The first thing we need to do is ask some discreet questions. I want to find out where the Seether Oil was delivered in Drasleona and where it was taken from there. Most likely, soldiers or workmen were involved in transporting it. We have to find those men and get one to talk. They left the Golden Globe and searched for warehouses where the Seether Oil might have been delivered. Near the centre of Drasleona, the streets began to slant upward toward a palace of polished granite. It was built on a rise so that it towered above every building except the cathedral. The courtyard was a mosaic of mother of pearl and parts of the walls were inlaid with gold. Black statues stood in alcoves with sticks of incense smoking in their cold hands. Soldiers stationed every 4 yards watched passers-by keenly. Who lives there? Asked Eragon in awe. Marcus Tabor, ruler of this city. He answers only to the king and his own conscience, which hasn't been very active recently, said Brom. They walked around the palace looking at the gated, ornate houses that surrounded it. By midday they had learned nothing useful, so they stopped for lunch. This city is too fast for us to comb it together, said Brom. Search on your own, meet me at the Golden Globe by dusk. He glowered at Eragon from under his bushy eyebrows. I'm trusting you not to do anything stupid. I won't, promised Eragon. Brom handed him some coins, then strode away in the opposite direction. Throughout the rest of the day, Eragon talked with shopkeepers and workers, trying to be as pleasant and charming as he could. His questions led him from one end of the city to the other and back again. No one seemed to know about the oil. Wherever he went, the cathedral stared down at him. It was impossible to escape its tall spires. At last he had found a man who had helped ship the Seether Oil and remembered to which warehouse it had been taken. Eragon excitedly went to look at the building, but then returned to the Golden Globe. It was over an hour before Brom came back, slumped with fatigue. Did you find anything? Asked Eragon. Brom brushed back his white hair. I heard a great deal of interesting things today, not the least of which is that Galbatorix will visit Drasleona within the week. What? Exclaimed Eragon. Brom slouched against the wall, the lines of his forehead deepening. It seems that Tabor has taken a few too many liberties with his power, so Galbatorix has decided to come and teach him a lesson in humility. It's the first time the king has left Urubayan in over 10 years. Do you think he knows of us? Asked Eragon. Of course he knows of us, but I'm sure he hasn't been told our location. If he had, we would already be in the Razak's grasp. However, this means that whatever we're going to do about the Razak must be accomplished before Galbatorix arrives. We don't want to be anywhere within 20 leagues of him. The one thing in our favour is that the Razak are sure to be here, preparing for his visit. I want to get the Razak, said Eragon, his fist tightening, but not if it means fighting the king. He could probably tear me to pieces. That seemed to amuse Brom. Very good. Caution. And you're right, you wouldn't stand a chance against Galbatorix. Now tell me what you learned today. It might confirm what I heard. Eragon shrugged. It was mostly drivel, but I did talk with a man who knew where the oil was taken. It's just an old warehouse. Other than that, I didn't discover anything useful. My day was a little more fruitful than yours. I heard the same thing you did, so I went to the warehouse and talked with the workers. It didn't take much cajoling before they revealed that the cases of Seether Oil are always sent from the warehouse to the palace. And that's when you came back here, finished Eragon. No, it's not. Don't interrupt. After that, I went to the palace and got myself invited into the servants' quarters as a bard. For several hours I wandered about, amusing the maids and others with songs and poems, and asking questions all the while. Brom slowly filled his pipe with tobacco. It's really amazing all the things servants find out. Did you know that one of the earls has 3 mistresses? And they all live in the same wing of the palace? He shook his head and lit the pipe. Aside from the fascinating tidbits, I was told, quite by accident, where the oil is taken from the palace. And that is? Asked Eragon impatiently. Brom puffed on his pipe and blew a smoke ring. Out of the city, of course. Every full moon, 2 slaves are sent to the base of Helgrind with a month's worth of provisions. Whenever the Seether Oil arrives in Drasleona, they send it along with the provisions. The slaves are never seen again. And the one time someone followed them, he disappeared too. I thought the riders demolished the slave trade, said Eragon. Unfortunately, it has flourished under the king's reign. So the Razak are in Helgrind, said Eragon, thinking of the rock mountain. There or somewhere nearby. If they are in Helgrind, they'll either be at the bottom and protected by a thick stone door, or higher up where only their flying mounts or Saphira can reach. Top or bottom, their shelter will no doubt be disguised. He thought for a moment. If Saphira and I go flying around Helgrind, the Razak are sure to see us, not to mention all of Drasleona. It is a problem, agreed Brom. Eragon frowned. What if we took the place of the 2 slaves? The full moon isn't far off. It would give us a perfect opportunity to get close to the Razak. Brom tugged his beard thoughtfully. That's chancy at best. If the slaves are killed from a distance, we'll be in trouble. We can't harm the Razak if they aren't in sight. We don't know if the slaves are killed at all, Eragon pointed out. I'm sure they are, said Brom, his face grave. Then his eyes sparkled and he blew another smoke ring. Still, it's an intriguing idea. If it were done with Saphira hidden nearby, and, His voice trailed off. It might work, but we'll have to move quickly. With the king coming, there isn't much time. Should we go to Helgrind and look around? It would be good to see the land in daylight so we won't be surprised by any ambushes, said Eragon. Brom fingered his staff. That can be done later. Tomorrow, I'll return to the palace and figure out how we can replace the slaves. I have to be careful not to arouse suspicion, though. I could easily be revealed by spies and courtiers who know about the Razak. I can't believe it. We actually found them, said Eragon quietly. An image of his dead uncle and burned farm flashed through his mind. His jaw tightened. The toughest part is yet to come. But yes, we've done well, said Brom. If fortune smiles upon us, you may soon have your revenge, and the Varden will be rid of a dangerous enemy. What comes after that will be up to you. Eragon opened his mind and jubilantly told Saphira, We found the Razak's lair. Where? He quickly explained what they had discovered. Helgrind, she mused. A fitting place for them. Eragon agreed. When we're done here, maybe we could visit Carver Hall. What is it you want? She asked, suddenly sour. To go back to your previous life? You know that won't happen, so stop mooning after it. At a certain point you have to decide what to commit to. Will you hide for the rest of your life, or will you help the Varden? Those are the only options left to you, unless you join forces with Galbatorix, which I do not and never will accept. Softly he said, If I must choose, I cast my fate with the Varden, as you well know. Yes, but sometimes you have to hear yourself say it. She left him to ponder her words.